Hey guys, this is Jerry Brewer of East Bay Hitting Instruction. I'm going to be looking at an analysis of Matt Kemp. We're going to look at his swing. We're going to emphasize mostly on the stride, but I'm going to show some other parts of his swing as well. So what we're going to be looking at is a home run swing, and we're going to look at the three same segments as the Buster Posey stride breakdown. We're going to look how he gets control of the body. We're going to look at how he moves the body to toe touch and the transition into the bat swing. So the previous one I've shown is Buster Posey, and Buster kind of has a larger magnitude. His movements are bigger. They're easier to see. He has a high leg kick. He kind of moves the body quite a bit into the stride. And we're going to show that even though Kemp's movements are a lot smaller magnitude, they're the same thing and just as powerful. So just want to show the swing we're going to break down. Here he is, Dodger Stadium. Looks like he's beating the Rockies. So, okay, so there's the swing we're going to look at. So the first part is getting control of the backside getting the control of the body into the backside, and he's already done it. He doesn't do it dynamically, he does it statically. As soon as you get into the box, he sets into the rear hip. Buster does it dynamically, Kemp does it statically, which is better. Biomechanically, you can get a little bit of a stretch reflex going by doing it dynamically. I like to see hitters do it dynamically. But Kemp's a very powerful guy, so he doesn't have to. And that's fine. For consistency, if that's a move we can't gain control of, you just want to focus on other things, that's fine. But Kemp is setting into the rear side here. If you look at the right below his belt line, you see that crease in his pants. That's the telltale sign that he's set into that rear hip. He's sitting down into a chair, but cocked a little bit to the rear, and you can see that the angle on the front leg. He's sitting back. He's got the Pac-Man going, the shape between the shoulder, the belt line to the front knee, and he's set into the rear hip. His rear leg is accepting the pressure of the body, and he's about to press against the ground and move laterally. So I've drawn a line where his front hip line is, and I've drawn a line where his front toe is. We're going to see a few things. So I'm just going to show this, and then we're going to break it down. So here's the movements. That's all we're going to look at, just going into toe touch. So Kemp kind of lands flat-footed, but we're going to call that toe touch. So let's just piece through this a little bit. And I'm going to pause it so I can. So here he is. The first thing I want to show is that how he moves. As I step through this, you can see he's kind of turning inward, turning inward, turning inward. Look at the rear hip. The rear hip is moving. You can see in relation to the people in the stands. Here it's really starting to pick up speed. But the front foot has done nothing. He's not just sticking his front foot out. He's not just doing a quick little jab step. He's not getting the front foot down early. Any other hitting cues you've heard. He's carrying the front leg. He's carrying it with the body, driving with the rear leg. And as he's doing this, he's moving the bat into the hitting position with his rear shoulder, his rear scapula muscles, and getting that into a cock position. Kind of as he comes into toe touch. It's kind of one move. But as we see into toe touch, his foot has moved very, very little. About 2 inches, but his hips have moved quite a bit. His front hip is turned in a little bit, so we can't see the full magnitude of it, but his rear hip's moved a lot. He's moved quite a bit, and more importantly than the magnitude of the movement is the speed at which he's done that. He's built up some momentum. He's moved a lot of his body quickly. Mass times velocity is momentum, so he has a lot of momentum going into the pitch right here. His left knee is coiled in a little bit. There's not much inner coil, but that's okay. He has some. That's really the main key. We can really tell that by the angle going from the foot up to the knee up to the hip. He's coiled in a little bit. And you can also see that his jersey on the left side, his right side, is over his belt buckle as opposed to his front side. So we know he's coiled. He's got some stretch in that front leg. It's going to help him release that left leg. So a really good move. He's centered over his body. His head's over his belt buckle, which is over his crotch. He's in a really good position here, really strong. So into the heel plant and drive position of the swing, I'm just going to show this and we're going to break it down. Okay. So just kind of, let's watch this again. I'm going to start it here. And I've got a circle on his knee, his front knee. And we're going to watch this and kind of emphasize this in relation to the article I put up on creating space part 2. And what we're seeing here is that as he begins this movement, the left knee is going to go more towards the pitcher. He's firing that left knee first, and he's not just extending the front leg, just driving off the ground in a straight extension push with the knee. It's really got a rotation to it. He's firing it, he's clearing the hips, however you want to say it, but he's rotating that leg externally and getting it out of the way. You can see here he's really moved that left leg. That left knee, excuse me. He's going to keep doing it until way out here. See how much he's moved that front knee. He's fired that left leg and opened up that front side to really create that big stretch across that body. And if you look at this, something really interesting is happening with his rear hip. His rear hip is still pretty far behind. You know, we talk about turning the hips, but really the hip is waiting. It's kind of resisting, letting that left leg fire first, and creating a huge stretch across his pelvis region and lower back for that matter. So he's turning very, very forcefully right here. So when the front leg finishes its movement, it's going to come in here and start to become an extension. The left knee is going to turn into extension right here. It's done with the rotation movement. That right leg is going to blast through. Here we are. Left leg is going to lose its flexion, go into extension, and he just knocks the crap out of the ball. So Matt Kemp is really doing this well. He's creating that space between the knees. Right here, just you can see the stretch between his pants. His left leg is firing, and his right side is just begging to come through. He's getting stretched, getting pulled, and then it has a little bit of extra power to catch up with that front side. Really a great movement. You can almost see it. Let's just watch this again in full speed. It's not just a push off the ground. He is pushing off the ground, don't get me wrong, but it almost has a shearing effect. See how the leg is out working. We can really see this on the front side. It's a different pitch. I don't have the front side view of the pitch we just saw, but it's on the top side. Here he is at toe touch, and I've drawn a line right in front of his belt buckle. And then at contact, you can see how much he really gets that left hip around. And what's really interesting to see in this pitch is that the ball is low and outside. I mean, on inside pitches, he would even get around even more. But even on a pitch low and outside, he still gets that left hip cleared so well. And that's how he's doing. He's not just pushing off the ground with the front side, but rotating, then pushing. So there's extra movement in there that fires first. Really a fantastic movement, very powerful. That's really how Kemp's able to get so much power. A great lower body drive. So in comparison to Posey, who has this big high leg kick and a really big movement, let's just compare. Here they are at the load position where they've gained control of the body in the rear side. And is there really that much different? Not that much, really. They're both into the rear side. Posey's a little bit back farther, but Kemp's set there. If you just put Posey's front leg on the ground, I think they're going to look identical. You know, it's the same movements. In the toe touch, not much different. You know, Posey moves a little bit farther. He has a little bit more inward turn of the front knee, but really about the same. You know, you can see the stretch in the pants, the stretch in the jersey. You can see his 23 versus Posey's lower rib cage. You know, they're getting the same stretch. The bat's in the same position. They're loading that rear arm, rear shoulder. It's the same movement. And then at heel plant, you can see both hitters, you know, firing that left side. You see the big stretch of the pants, the crease right underneath Posey's upper thigh on the left side. Same thing in Matt Kemp. Really, just a great movement. The rear elbow is dropping, firing through. Posey's rear knee's working under a little earlier because his legs are spread a little farther apart. But these are the same movements. The magnitudes are different. They have different body compositions, so they're going to look a little bit different, but it's the same. And so that's really what I want to get out of here is this, we don't need a high leg kick. We don't need a super short stride like a Kemp, but we do need some common things. We need to carry first we need to load the body into the rear side so we can carry the body into the toe touch, and then the drive into heel plant with that front foot. So these are some common things that we see in all good hitters, and this is what we need to work on. Alright guys, thanks a lot. Take pride in your hitting.